Welcome everybody. We're doing another cooking class here at Humana in Naperville. And this cooking class is all about nutritional intervention. And we're doing that with a protective diet. With the application of these recipes, we can reverse disease such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, eliminate obesity, eliminate food cravings or food addictions. You can see in my before and after picture there, that was before I adopted a protective diet. My name is Julie Marie Christensen, and I created a protective diet to eliminate my own challenges with health. And I'm here today at Humana just to give you an idea of what you can do with diet to change your health path. If you're having challenges, I was challenged with heart disease in my 20s and obesity, amongst a list of other things from anxiety to depression, plantar fasciitis. I couldn't walk, I had gout. All of these things were related to my diet and were removed when I changed over to a protective diet, which is a low-fat, plant-based diet. It's free of saturated fats and sugars and animal products and nuts. So we'll go through that and I'll answer any questions that you guys have about a protective diet as I'm doing the demo. Feel free to raise your hand, ask questions if you're confused about what I'm doing up here. Hopefully you won't be confused. Is anyone here struggling with heart disease, high cholesterol, or high blood pressure? Okay, great. These are all things that can be completely removed out of your life. You can reduce your cholesterol down under 150 for your total cholesterol score with a protective diet. My cholesterol was in the high 200s, along with my mother, my sisters. We were all struggling with heart disease. They told us it was hereditary, it ran in our family, until I intervened with my diet. I changed my diet to a low-fat, plant-based diet, and my total cholesterol score is now at 123. And I'm on no medication anymore, and I used to take medication for an array of different challenges. So diet, everything relates back to what you're putting into your body, what you're fueling your body with. So I want to open your eyes to the idea of making changes and making changes full time to see really fast results. Within just 3 months, you can drop your total cholesterol score into a healthy range for most people. In 30 days on a protective diet, I've seen drops of 30 to 40 points on total cholesterol scores without medication. So I highly recommend it. I'm going to start off today with a recipe that's called ice pops. They're popsicles. They're sugar-free. We've eliminated the sugar out of them, or high fructose corn syrup that you find in the grocery stores. It's summertime, we want a cold treat. So what I'm putting in here is frozen fruit, and I'm using 3 cups of mangoes today. We're going to have samples that come out. Some are mango and some are strawberry. The strawberry ones are nice and sweet, and the mango ones are, you don't have your recipe sheets. Hold on one second. Jerry, could you pass these out so you can follow along and have a clue what I'm doing up here? Sorry about that. I'm making 2 different popsicles. One popsicle is traditional in Mexico and in Mexican neighborhoods here in Chicago. It's a spicy mango popsicle, and they actually put chilies in it. And I know a lot of you from previous cooking classes I did here, you like spicy food. So we did that one, and then we also did the strawberry one. So you don't have to eat the spicy popsicle if you're not into spicy. And if you try the spicy one, try the sweet one too. There's enough samples for everybody. So I'm starting off with 3 cups of any type of frozen fruit. And this one happens to be an organic mango fruit, chunks that I found at Costco. They're a great supplier. They're a Costco member of frozen fruits, and they've got a lot of organics now in their store. Should you use organic? I try to go for the organics in my diet because I eat a protective diet full time. I've cut my grocery bills in half by not eating processed foods, packaged foods, meats, cheeses. Those are expensive items that we buy at the grocery store. So I don't eat any of those. And our average grocery bill get processed food items. So after you're doing this a little while, I encourage people to start looking into the organics. It is not essential for reversal of disease or elimination of challenges with obesity to eat organics. It's just not, that won't make it or break it. For some people, it's a little bit of a distraction. They get so caught up in organics that they end up not buying any produce because it's so expensive. So I just want you to do what you can afford. And there's also a list on the internet called the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. There's a lot of produce items on that Clean 15 list that aren't even sprayed, so they're not necessary to buy in organic form. Okay, so we're adding a 1/4 cup of erythritol. Now I want to talk a little bit about this. Is anyone familiar with erythritol?
No.
It's an artificial sweetener that's actually naturally derived from corn. This is the most natural artificial sweetener we can find on the market. They've been studying this since the early 1900s, and it's extracted from corn. It doesn't cause any intestinal distress like some of the other alcohol sugars on the market. I don't include any chemical ingredients on a protective diet, and this one I've tested over and over again, and it doesn't cause sugar cravings or a spike in your blood sugar. There's 0 calories per serving, but it gives a nice sweetness.
Where could you get that?
This one is actually manufactured locally here by Now Foods, and you can find it at Fruitful Yield would be your best local resource. And Whole Foods does not carry this one. They carry one that has some other additives in it. So I would recommend ordering this from Amazon. On protectivediet.com, there's a link for the best resource for this, the cheapest price. But because you guys are local here, I don't know if you have a Fruitful Yield in the area, right? It's an incredible price there. It is a little bit more expensive than sugar because of how they have to extract it. The processing is more expensive, and a little bit goes a long way. So it's a great replacement for sugar in salad dressings and sauces and things like that. In baking, it's a little bit different than what you would bake with your normal sugar. So it doesn't totally translate perfectly. So I'm just going to blend this up. So this blender I'm using is a high-speed blender. I love it. It'll blend cement. Excellent. It's my favorite kitchen tool, is my Blendtec. They have these available at Costco now, and then I also have a link on my website for reconditioned Blendtecs that are much less expensive. If you're interested in that, I can tell you about it after the class. But today I'm using these little Dixie cups I got at the dollar store. These are great if you have kids or if you want to make a bunch of them and line them up in your freezer. You can also buy reusable popsicle molds. Those are great too. Then you're not wasting all the paper products. So you just want to fill them up, and you're going to put the stick inside, and it'll hold up steady because you use that frozen fruit. My fruit's starting to melt out here, so you can see most of my sticks stayed nice and straight. When you're taking these out, just hold them in your hands a few minutes, and it'll defrost a little, and you'll be able to slip it out. Just going to pass those out to you guys. Does anyone have any questions about this recipe or the erythritol?
Most corn, GMO.
This one is actually not labeled non-GMO.
Oh, it is.
Yes. And most corn that is used in tortilla chips, corn flour, corn meal is genetically modified. But if you go to your farmer's market or your produce store and you're buying fresh corn, that corn is generally not GMO because those are smaller corn farms. The corn that's grown and dried out on the field for processing into cornmeal, corn flour, to make corn tortillas and tortilla chips is GMO. So if you're eating fresh corn from the grocery store or your freezer section corn, generally that is not GMO corn. So don't fear corn. Corn is a whole grain and it's very good for us. But this product happens to be made with non-GMO corn. So this recipe makes about 9 of these Dixie cups. And if you want to make this the spicy popsicle, I usually make half non-spicy and half spicy because I love everything spicy. Jerry likes everything spicy except his popsicles. So it's an acquired taste, but in Mexico this is very traditional, but they normally use heavy cream with the mango, sugar, a little lime juice, and arbol chilies, which are dried chilies you can find in your grocery store. They hang in bags like this. At Jewel here we have them, at Myers, at any grocery store locally here we have them in the Mexican section. And because I used half the batch here plain, I'm just going to put 1 chili. This is a really big one. I'm going to put 1 chili in there and blend that up until it's really fine. Tap on top of it. I knew we had the spicy lovers here. And if you're not fond of spicy food, start trying it. Maybe not in your popsicles, but incorporating spice into your diet actually produces the same hormones that we produce when we exercise that makes us feel good. So endorphins are produced when we eat spicy food. That's why people that like spicy food love spicy food. They always are craving spicy food and spicy toppings or sauces. It's because it makes them feel good. So at first it might not feel so good on your tongue, but after a few tries, you'll start to like it. I promise. I didn't like spicy food, and I decided for my New Year's resolution a few years back that I would like spicy food as much as my husband Jerry did, because I'd watch him eat it and enjoying it, and I wanted to be a part of that, but I couldn't get past the heat on my tongue. So I just started adding a little bit of spice to my salsas, a little bit here and there, and now I eat with my Mexican friends, and it's like I'm their sister. I love the heat. It's like I grew up with it. So you can build up your tolerance to it if you want to try.
Nutritionally, what's the advantage?
Antioxidants. There's tons of antioxidants in these chilies, even in the dried chilies, and they're very inexpensive to add into your diet. There's many different chilies in the Mexican section, and maybe one day we'll make an enchilada sauce that uses the bigger dried chilies. They're super, super rich with antioxidants. Antioxidants are vitamins that fight free radicals in our body. So we're exposed to free radicals here in this parking lot. If cars are driving by, we're exposed to them from the sun. And if we're constantly eating these antioxidants that are in the chilies, that are in the fruit, that are in, I'm going to show you a flour water recipe, we can defend ourselves from things like car exhaust, chemicals in our food, the sun, the free radicals from the sun. We need the sun to produce vitamin D. It's very essential to our health and our life. But if we're going out in the sun and we're not packing our bodies with these antioxidants so that we can defend the free radicals from the sun, but take in the rays to produce the vitamin D through our skin, we're putting ourselves at risk. So we can look at antioxidants as nature's sunscreen. These antioxidants that are in fruits, vegetables, chilies, anything that grows from the ground, those all protect us from our daily exposure to sun, pollution, the foods we eat, chemicals that we clean with, and even our clothing is contaminated with some chemicals. So if we put all this defense in our body, we're going to be fine to defend ourselves from cancer. This over here.
Strawberry one?
So what do you think of the popsicles? You guys are really quiet. Is it too spicy or is it just right?
Not too bad.
Not too bad. See, she's up on the top level of the spicy.
It's spicy.
Glad you like it.
To the aftertaste.
And if you had a spicy one, raise your hand if you want to taste a sweet one. There's leftovers, right? And then if you want to taste a spicy one, because you're curious, raise your hand. I think there's a few left. Okay, the next recipe we're going to do is chia seed bean burgers. I'm going to show you how to make your own homemade bean burgers, and they're so easy. The chia seeds in this recipe actually bind the burger together so that it will hold nice and firm for you. And we're going to start off with, I'm going to use my food processor for this recipe. And we're going to put, oh, you know what I need is a bowl.
Bowl.
A bowl. A pretty, oh no, I'm sorry, Jerry, I don't need a bowl. Thanks, I have a bowl. So I'm going to start off with the liquid ingredients of this recipe. We've got a 1/4 cup of water. This is a 1/4 cup of tamari. This is, it's like soy sauce, but it is free of any additives. Like your typical soy sauce on the market has MSG in it, and that can cause food cravings. And when I teach students about a protective diet, I host an online course and I work with people in their homes that are challenged with food addiction or food cravings, obesity. We remove soy sauce out of the diet and we replace it with tamari because this is free of the additives that will cause cravings.
Sodium?
There is sodium in tamari for sure. Buy the low sodium tamari version if you're watching your sodium. It's what's going to give the burger some salt to it. So I also have a 1/4 cup of tomato paste. The one I choose, I shop at Costco. They have an excellent organic tomato paste. When you're buying for a great price, cheaper than in your regular grocery stores for the non-organics. Costco, they're doing pretty good on the prices. I don't know, I guess because you're buying in quantity, they can charge so little. But when you're buying tomato paste, look for the ingredients containing only tomatoes. That's all you want in your tomato paste. So I have a 1/4 cup of tomato paste. Chia seeds. You could use white or black in this recipe. If you're just getting started on a protective diet, we use chia seeds to thicken salad dressings to eliminate the oils. For those purposes, I choose the white so that it doesn't change the color of the salad dressing. So if you're in the store and you're at Fruitful Yield or Whole Foods and you're looking at chia seeds, pick the white ones because you'll be able to use them in other recipes that I teach. But the black ones will work just fine if that's what you have at home. We're going to go with 3 tablespoons of chia seeds, and you guys all have the recipe sheets to duplicate these at home. And those are going to gel in the water. Chia seeds, I don't know if you remember those chia pets, or how you smear them on the chia pet and it would turn into like a gel and stick on there with water. The same thing's going to happen when these chia seeds hit the liquid in our recipe. And it will gel up and it's going to thicken these burgers and bind them together without the use of any eggs. Because a lot of veggie burgers, and if you look them up online, the recipes contain eggs. And eggs are so high in cholesterol and saturated fat. So we're removing those 2 things out of our diet to help reduce the inflammation in our diet, reduce cholesterol, heart disease, eliminate obesity. 1 egg, studies have shown it has the same negative health effects on our body, just 1 egg, as smoking 5 cigarettes. So let's get them out of our diet and start to see the wellness emerge. So we're also adding 1 teaspoon of liquid smoke. This is going to give it a nice grilled flavor. If you've never worked with this before, I choose Wright's brand. They sell this at Meijer's here locally. There's a few different liquid smoke brands on the market, and they have an ingredient in them called natural flavor. That is a food additive that will cause cravings. So this one, it's just a vapor from them burning wood, and that's all that's in here. This is perfectly healthy to have. So we're going to have 1 teaspoon of liquid smoke. I use this in like my split pea soup and a lot of different recipes that need that smoky roasted flavor of like meat. So in our veggie burgers, we want them to be kind of meaty. And then I'm going to add garlic. Hopefully you're buying your garlic in its natural form. The garlic that is sold that is all chopped and ready to go in the jar has food additives in it to preserve it, but they also cause food cravings. When I eliminated all of these processed foods that have the food additives in them out of my diet, I stopped searching for things after I was done eating. I would be full, but I would be back in the kitchen looking for something else. I don't even know what I was looking for because I had a full tummy full of food. But when I cut those things out of my diet, I stopped with the cravings and the constant wanting of something that I couldn't even identify. Well, it was these food additives. So these bulbs of garlic are mammoth. I don't know why they're so big, but I'm going to cut them in half so that they fit into my garlic press. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend them. They're great in the kitchen. I use a lot of garlic in my recipes. Garlic is very good for us. And it adds a lot of flavor to a recipe for a very low price. So you put it right in the press with the peel and everything on it, and it chops it all up for you. You don't have to handle the garlic, you don't have to have icky garlic fingers, and then the shell just comes right off. But you want to make sure you leave that peel on the garlic. If you peel the garlic and then put it in the press, it's hard to get the little bits out of there. So this recipe, normally I put 4 cloves, but we just used a huge clove of garlic. That's enough. Unless you like a lot of garlic, you can go for it. And then with my food processor, I have 3 cans of beans. I'm using 1 pinto and 2 black beans. There's a rock in here. Good thinking. We got a lot of wind. I'm like, what's in there? So I drained them into a colander and I rinsed them in the sink with water to get all of the juice off of the beans in the can. That's not because the juice in the can is bad for you. Actually, that juice, if you buy it free of salt, contains a lot of antioxidants from those beans sitting in that water. So I encourage people to use that if you're making a bean soup. Use the liquid that's in the can. For this recipe, we want the beans dry, so I rinse them and let them strain. And I'm putting them into my food processor, along with some fresh onion. Giving this a little bit of a chop to help out my food processor. I'm not working with the greatest food processor on the market, so I need a new one. But it does the job. Okay. And then I'm also incorporating parsley. I have a half a cup of parsley in this recipe. And the reason I'm including it is for flavor, but you really won't notice it in there when the burger's cooked. Parsley is rich in all of the vitamins that all your greens are rich in, and it's very inexpensive compared to other greens like kale. And I want to show you this little tip. I point this out, I think, at every single cooking demo I do because I use a lot of herbs, a lot of parsley, basil, cilantro. When you get your parsley home from the grocery store, I want you to take it right out of that plastic bag because if you leave it in there in your refrigerator, it's going to wilt and it's going to be wasted money. You spent your money on something and you won't be able to use it the next day. Take it, put it in the sink in a bowl of water, rinse it until the water runs clear, maybe about 3 times. And then I want you to wrap it in a clean kitchen towel, just like this. Put the lid on it and store it in your refrigerator. After 1 week, I want you to change this towel out. And this parsley will stay this beautiful for 2 weeks. So you buy parsley once, maybe you get 3 bunches for $1 at your local fruit market, or you want to buy organic parsley, you'll get a bunch this size for $1.99. But you will use every single leaf of this parsley. It will not go bad if you do this preserving technique. And then it's always handy when you're making a recipe to chop some up, add it to your salads. This is so packed with antioxidants. defend us from the free radicals and prevent cancer. So we want to incorporate a lot into our diet. I add it to my salads, I add it obviously to my veggie burgers. If I make a plain pasta dish of just tomato sauce, I chop up some parsley and top it with it. You're packing a punch with this parsley of nutrients into your diet for very little cost. And it's handy if you preserve them like this. So we're going to add this in here. And if kids are eating this, don't let them see this part. If they're like, I don't like parsley, because that's usually the first reaction. But you can't even taste it in there. Okay, so I'm going to blend this up. And if your food processor is like mine, you might, oops, that one's for the bird. You might need to give this a little bit of a stir and then turn it back on again. Are you glad you sat that far away from me?
Who would like to join our email list? Is your ends?
Yeah, if you sign up for the emails, you get a weekly email of new recipes or where we're going to be doing cooking demos, because we do them all over the place. And you'll just be in touch with what's going on with Protective Diet. So you're going to take this and mix it in with our moist ingredients. A bigger bowl would probably be better. Give this a good stir. And these chia seeds are already starting to gel up from the liquid they were sitting in. Like 5 minutes for them to gel. Bless you. So then I'm going to add 1.5 cups of oats. This is going to bind everything together and increase the nutrient value of our burger. These are old-fashioned oats. I don't use the quick oats in any of my recipes. I like the old-fashioned oats.
Julie? You said 1.5 cups, and yours is 1.25 cups?
1.25 cups, thank you. You're right.
I wasn't sure.
That's the master sheet. I have so many recipes now that I can't keep track of my recipes. I have to look them up. I create a new recipe every week for my students on Protective Diet Education. It's an online classroom, and recipe subscription. So I promised them a new innovative recipe to keep them on track every week. So I'm always in what I call my test kitchen, creating a recipe, so I lose track. I can't keep them straight. I have to look up my older recipes. This recipe I made up last summer. So you're going to mix this up. Then the secret to getting these patties to form really easily is to chill this. So I usually make this up in the morning before I've got to work or do what I have to do, and then at dinner time they're nice and chilled and ready for me to form. Or you could do it 2 days in advance if you want. Okay, Jerry, would you mind lighting the grill for me?
Sure.
I'm going to form these patties for you and show you how easy it is, but before I do that, I'm going to show you how this goes on the grill. When you're grilling veggie burgers outside, you could bake them in the oven, as it says on the directions, and they turn out beautifully. The secret to them is let them cool for 10 minutes before you handle them, and they'll stay together beautifully. There you go, Jerry. Thank you. You don't need a man to light your grill, ladies. I light my grill at home, but I just figured, why not? He's here, right? So, in order to grill things that, like veggie burgers, beans, are going to stick to the hot grate, you don't want to deal with that. They're going to fall apart into your grill. So you want to line your grill with aluminum foil. Thanks, Jerry.
Sure.
And a piece of parchment paper. Parchment paper is a little different than wax paper. You can find it at any grocery store. Pick some of this up for your grilling. When I grill vegetables and things like that, oil-free, I put them straight on the grill, it's fine. But for veggie burgers, you want to protect them from the grill. Make sure your parchment paper stays within your foil because it will start on fire. So these patties I formed for you ahead of time. And I'm going to get them on the grill so we can get your samples to you today. No, I may be able to slide. Any tongs? No. I'm going to actually try to see if I can. This is the first time I'm doing this in large. Oh, I know what I can do. Do it one by one. So normally I make these normal size burgers, which I'm going to show you all the different sizes you can make. But for our samples, I just made mini burgers. They're like little sliders. And you're just going to line them all up on your grill.
Would anybody like any water?
Jerry, which is low on here? Can you please adjust it? Because I think theirs works slow to high and it feels very hot.
Okay.
The parchment is actually. So you want to cook these, if you're cooking them on the grill outside, low to medium low. Put it on low. And what you're doing is you're not even going to flip these burgers. Just brown one side of them. And I promise I'm not going to burn them. Because I had a dream about this last night. It wasn't good. I was talking to you guys, telling you all about these wonderful antioxidants, and my burgers burned. So, okay. So here's my nice chilled burger mix. This is a burger press. Does anyone have one of these at home? Something like it. These are great. They're, I want to say around maybe $6. You can find them at any store now. But they're awesome for veggie burgers. It's like they made them for us because we need a nice pressed burger. So you're going to pack the filling in here. My veggie burger is really hot, or the press is really hot for sitting in the sun, so I hope this works them smaller for kids or smaller for everybody. But just to give you an idea, the average quarter-pound burger, beef burger, is over 500 calories. A quarter-pound veggie burger is about 100 calories. So you're going to have to eat on a protected diet or a low-fat, plant-based diet. You have to eat a little bit more volume of food to get your caloric requirements, which is great because I love to eat. So if you're eating this with a bun, it might be a little bit too much for the outside dish. So you press it down in there like that. Then you slide that right off there. Now to get it out of this press, we're just going to slide our knife. You could use a regular butter knife, which is what I use at home when I do this. Slide it underneath. And there's your perfect burger patty. It's awesome. I love it. The first time I used this, I couldn't figure out how to get it out of there. And there were experiments. There were no directions. And then I made a video about it. I do a lot of cooking videos. If you guys need help cooking, ProtectiveDiet.com is a great resource for new cooks. I work with a lot of people that have been driving through the drive-thru, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's why they developed heart disease or type 2 diabetes or they're obese, and that's why they need some help learning how to cook. And that's my job, is teaching people how to do this breakfast, lunch, and dinner day-to-day application of a low-fat, plant-based diet that I call a protective diet to reverse disease. So you do the same thing with other patties. Now, if you want smaller patties, these are ball jar lids, which are these jars that I have here. So you want to take 2 of the liners, or seals, and 1 ring. Place the ring, just like this. This is the free burger press. And this is a little bit more of a normal size burger. It's a little less intimidating to kids. Or if you're having some of my protective diet potato salad, which we did last month. That's a great recipe to look up. It's a free recipe. You can't eat that size burger in a big bowl of potato salad. You'll get full too fast. So there's your burger. So this is a great way to make a burger press for free. And then we also have, this is what I used for your mini burgers. I just placed that on the parchment paper tray. So we'll say this is our tray. This is a cookie cutter. Plastic cookie cutter. Need a backless cookie cutter, basically. Press it in there, and then remove the cookie cutter, and there's your little mini burger slider. It's that easy. So what you can do is, if you're not into cooking on a regular basis, make a double batch of these veggie burgers, and take these and place a piece of parchment paper down on a plate, put your burger on it, or you can just wrap it in plastic wrap, put a piece of parchment paper on it, and keep stacking them with parchment paper. And then you have veggie burgers for the next 3 to 4 days, put them in the fridge. Or you can freeze them and just bake them and eat them as you want.
Is there a specific company that makes that soy milk?
Yes, this soy milk is from Trader Joe's. And when you're looking for soy milk, I want you to look for soy milks that all they contain is soybeans and water. These are made from organic soybeans, so they're non-GMO, and they're great for you. Soy has been shown to reduce our risk of both breast cancer and prostate cancer, the leading cancers in both men and women, with the incorporation of about 2 ounces or more of soy products per day. Now I say soy products, unprocessed soy products. So we don't want to include soy burgers and these processed soy products, like the frozen vegetarian products in the freezer. They contain a lot of food additives and oils and sugars are added to them. So we want clean soy products like this soy milk. West Soy is another brand that makes a clean soy milk. Soybeans and water are the only ingredients. This one's the cheapest one on the market at $1.69 a box. Very inexpensive. Yes. Just checking out. And while that's cooking, I'm going to show you my next recipe, which I don't have a recipe sheet for because it's really quite simple.
Is there any other milk you substitute besides milk?
Your own homemade rice milk would be the cheapest route to go and the only other clean milk I would recommend, besides you can make oat milk as well. If you want to make your own homemade rice milk, all you have to do is use a high-speed blender like I have here, the Blendtec or Vitamix, and put a half a cup of uncooked brown rice in your blender and about 2 to 3 cups of water. Blend it, and then what I use is a big jar like this, and I either use a nut bag or I use a paint strainer from Home Depot, a 1 gallon paint strainer, and I fasten it over here. It's just a really thin mesh. I pour the rice milk through, and that's going to catch any of the starch, and let it drain, and you have rice milk for pennies compared to what you can buy at the store. All the other plant-based milks on the market have cane sugar added or natural flavor, which is one of those chemical food ingredients. They put that in there. They've tested it on rats in the lab, and when rats eat food that has natural flavor on it, they don't stop eating until they're wider than they are long. The rats that eat food with nothing on it, they eat, they're full, they go about their business. So companies are putting these things in our food to get us to drink more of their milk or only choose their mustard because it contains these chemical additives. The taste is actually, the response is in your brain. It's not even on your taste buds. So I cleaned all that out of my diet so that I'm not drawn to foods for cravings, but I'm drawn to foods for actual hunger, and when I'm done, I'm satisfied. So the next recipe is for what I call flower water. It's a tea that I make out of, these are hibiscus flowers, and if you go to like your Mexican section in your grocery store, they label them Jamaica, which is flowers of Jamaica. It might be listed as. They're little hibiscus flowers that are dry. The reason I started incorporating this into my diet is I saw a video by a great doctor named Dr. Greger. He has a website called nutritionfacts.org, and he studies. It's basically his job, and he makes videos about nutritional studies that we would never get our hands on, or we would never bother to read through these documents. They're so boring. But he picks and chooses ones that could really help us out with our health. Well, this one he chose, he started drinking hibiscus tea, is what he calls it. I call it flower water because it's beautiful and it's made from flowers. Because this has the highest level of antioxidants of any beverage that we can drink. It's on a scale, I've written down here, green tea is about 40 on the antioxidant scale, and we know green tea is very high in antioxidants. This one is at, I have this one's at 132. There's nothing even close to it on the scale. Red wine is at 38. The green tea that I mentioned is your natural brew green tea in the bag. If you're drinking powdered green tea, the matcha green tea, that has 100. This is 132 and free of caffeine, so you don't have to drink a ton of it and have the shakes to get the antioxidant value. What I suggest is that you sip on this throughout the day, because studies showed that if you drink this, just sip on it, you could spike your water with it. It's going to leave your blood filled with antioxidants all day long to go on protecting you. And this is a good thing. We need this in our system all the time because we're exposed to everything around us that our body has to constantly defend against. These antioxidants are our defense. So what you're going to do with them is just take them.
What's the question, Julie?
Sure. It's an antioxidant scale. Water is 0. It has 0 antioxidants. This is on the scale. It's at 132. There is nothing even between it. The matcha powdered green tea was at 100, and there was nothing between this and at 132. So this is really, it packs an antioxidant punch. It's got these are called hibiscus flowers. But on it, if you find it in your grocery store, it's Jamaica. It'll be hanging by the Chili's in the Mexican section. In Mexico, they drink this on a regular basis. So they sweeten it with sugar and some other things, I think honey. But I'm going to give it to you straight up with water on ice, just so you can give it a try. When I brew it at home, I usually put it in a jar or a pitcher, and I put the flowers in there. Maybe for a pitcher this size, I put 8 flowers, and I put it in the refrigerator overnight. And in the morning, it's brewed. Cold brewing these flowers retains more of the antioxidant value than if you put hot water on them, although they will still retain benefits. So if you want to drink it hot, go ahead. It's still wonderful for you. But this is just easier, and I get more antioxidants out of it. So when I do this at home, I have it in a pitcher that has a spout, so it's a little easier. And I just pour it over ice. Oh, thank you. I forgot I'm cooking burgers. We could probably turn the heat up. Thank you, Jerry. Okay. So, my ice is all formed together. Well, it's just for me, so. Probably gonna. If you want to fill the cups up with these, and then okay. So if I'm just drinking this myself at home, I put it over ice. I have this little strainer that's really handy for me. I found this at an Asian market. You could probably find this at Target or any big box store. It just fits really nicely over my glass, and then it strains out the flowers.
What was the ratio? You said 8 flowers to how much water?
Yeah, and taste it. If you like it stronger or more diluted, it's up to you. I pour it over a lot of ice, and then the ice melts, and I add ice to my glass throughout the day in the summertime, and it dilutes it. Some people like to take this concentrate and just spike their water bottle with it. You don't have to drink it full strength to get the benefits of the antioxidant. This one's going to pack a major antioxidant punch because it's very concentrated. But she's going to get some samples out to you. It has a little bit of a tart, lemony taste to it. Your other option is if you like a sweet drink, you could take that and put it in a blender with erythritol. Erythritol does not dissolve in cold liquids, so you'd have to blend it to get it to dissolve. I try to reprogram people's taste buds and get them to be accustomed to the natural sweetness in foods, in natural foods, so I don't add the erythritol to my drink. I've just gotten used to it like this.
Did you dissolve that in cold water or hot water?
Brew the tea. I've just put it into cold water and put it in the refrigerator overnight, and it brews. It will brew within a few hours, actually. So, or you could put it in the window in the sun and make like sun tea. So I'm gonna, as soon as these burgers are done, I'm gonna have you come over and assemble your own burger. And I have some different toppings here that I want to talk to you about. I made a ketchup that is sugar-free. This contains the erythritol, and it tastes just like ketchup to me, so you'll have to give me your review. This is a great one to get sugar out of the diet for kids, or if you're struggling with diabetes or food cravings. Even the sugar in ketchup is going to get you to overeat it. This is my latest sauce that I have on ProtectiveDiet.com. It's called Spicy Awesome Sauce, we called it. It's a spicy sauce for all you spicy lovers for your burgers. And then we have classic mustard. And when you're buying classic mustard, look at the ingredients, that all it contains is things that you recognize. If you see the word spices or natural flavor on there, pick a different one. Usually your grocery store brand mustard doesn't have food additives in it. It's the larger companies that have the money to do the research and put those things in there to get you to crave their mustard. So look for the grocery store brands on the mustard. And then always top your burgers with more veggies. So we have veggie burgers, but then we're topping our burgers with more veggies. Jerry always says, what veggie are we having with our veggies for dinner? But we put them in camouflage so that you can feel like normal people eating a burger with a bun. And I made these buns for you. These are whole wheat buns that are free of all additives. You probably need some tongs or a fork for these. I got these tomatoes from my farmer's market yesterday. They're so beautiful this time of year.
Tongs or fork, you said?
Yeah, just so they can pick up the tomatoes.
Okay.
I made the buns. I didn't give you that recipe. I didn't want to overwhelm you with recipes, but that's also an exclusive recipe. I have a recipe subscription. So this recipe is very innovative for a whole wheat bun.
Burgers burning.
Thank you. What would I do without cherry? Yeah, they're good.
Third heat down?
No, they're good. I think we're ready. Those burgers are, or those buns were, they took a lot for me to come up with, but I do this once a week. I do a recipe subscription. No, the tiny ones for the, I just need a fork for the tomato. So that is part of the exclusive recipe. So you just need one side to brown to give it the flavor, and then I want you to remove them from the grill, but then let them firm up. As they cool, they firm into a nice firm burger. Otherwise, they'll be a little bit soft when you first remove them from the heat. That's the same thing with in the oven. If you're baking them, you want to let them sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. It'll be too hot to bite into anyway right away. Does anybody have any questions?
You were grilling the medium-sized ones. How do you know when
It's
they're done?
probably hot. Don't burn yourself there.
Yeah, 'cause it's hot.
Okay. How do I know when they're done? When the bottom side is nicely brown, they're done. You're not eating meat, so it's not an issue of it being, and when they're brown on the bottom, they'll be heated all the way through. No.
You need a weight on there.
I had it raw. Thank
Throw in the
you.
can, put can on it.
I gotta put more burgers on there.
there you go.
That's the problem. So you guys can come up and start assembling your burgers if you like. Maybe we need some napkins. I don't know. Start on this side, lay them up. And remember the awesome sauce is spicy, the one in the middle. You're welcome to come up, and if we run short on those samples, I'll have some more in a minute. I'm gonna try to use a piece of
Just protein.
And I'm sorry if we run short. I'll have another batch of burgers coming out. You'll get hot burgers.
Julie, is it better to freeze them? Oh, you got
Freeze them uncooked so that they'll get kind of dry if you bake them and then freeze them. If you know you're gonna have veggie burgers, say for the next 3 days, I usually cook in we'll have veggie burgers and then we'll have something different tomorrow, or I'll pack one for lunch. They're great packed in cold after they're baked. So I'll bake like 4 of them, and Jerry and I will have them for dinner, and then the next day we'll have them for lunch. We'll even eat them cold or to top of salad. They're excellent on top of salad. So you have a grain in there and the meat. So on top of salad, I love them. Or as just a little snack. Sometimes I'll just eat a cooked, but cold in the fridge veggie burger for breakfast. If I don't have time, I grab one of those. So, but a lot of my students pre-make them and freeze them raw so that they're handy. Yeah, or put more ketchup on them. I also want to let you guys know we're broadcasting across the world today. We have a student base that tunes in to all my classes on location, and my Tuesday night I have a protective diet education class that teaches the foundation and application of a plant-based diet, and they tune in. This will be recorded, so if you want to share it with anyone, I'll share it with Emily. But we have students all over the world that they're happy we're doing this during the daytime because it's like it's their after dinner time now, and they're able to tune in. Because a lot of our online classes are in the evening and they're sleeping, or they join us. Some of them wake up at like 3, 4 in the morning and tune in when they can. So this is nice. But does anyone have any questions I can answer about a protective diet or reversal of disease or lowering of cholesterol or any of the ingredients I used today?
This is good for diabetic people.
Oh, excellent.
So, go and go into the website, and then in the camcorder, HD recording,
The ketchup recipe is not. It's called Killer Ketchup, and the Awesome Sauce is an exclusive recipe as well. The ice pops were an exclusive recipe, but I shared it with you guys today because it's pretty basic. But yeah, I keep my recipes on a couple of them on the down low because there are people that subscribe and pay for them. And because we're broadcasting to anyone that wants to tune in, so then they'll get my exclusive recipes. They will be in a cookbook, hopefully within the next year.
So there are these chia seeds on the buns, or are they?
Those are sesame seeds. They're just black and white sesame seeds. They're just there for decoration. So you like spicy? Yeah. I hope.
I like chia seeds.
Good. Good for you.
Make those buns.
Yeah, they're so cute. I baked them last night and then I actually froze them and frosted them on the way here to let them come to room temperature because there's no preservatives in them, so you want to keep them frozen.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Fresh. They're just made of whole wheat flours.
You will be on the show. Dancing. Yes, I'll dance. The black one is
They're both black sesame seeds or white sesame seeds.
Yeah, but we have to wait, you know, because we go do it and there'd be like the one day we went and all. And there was a group from like retired during the garden and we wait till they walk through. But they would, you know, like the nurses.
Well, thank you for tuning in. For anyone at home viewing, we're going to say goodbye and take care and best of health to you.
Thank you.
Well, the problem we have here, which I didn't know until I saw a video, is that behind